I just went to Starbucks and not even 30 seconds later, I'm done with my drink. I want to talk about body image and how much of a role that plays in your recovery journey and just how much of a role healing that will play on your life. I guess in reality, this video is more of like how I started working on my body image, right? Because it's when you are going through life so concerned about your body, constantly seeking control, you're gonna emotionally exhaust yourself. This is where you get decision fatigue. And for me, this is where I was so exhausted that it felt like binging was the only escape that I could get, and my body recognized that, and so did my mind. So this is where like the food noise would start, and then this also just fueled, seeking so much control and wanting my body to look a certain way. It also controlled like the binge and the diet cycle, and that was fucking awful. So if I could give you some tips today, that's what I'm gonna do. My first tip is just recognize what you can do today, right? It's taking it like day by day, waking up and kind of asking yourself, what can I do today that will get me closer into healing this, or, helping my relationship with my body. Just understanding that it's not going to change overnight. And so like one of the ways that I did that was clearing my social media feed. And this might, I didn't even recognize that my social media feed was doing this to me, but these people that you follow, the ideal bodies, I know there's like in the fitness community, there's kind of this thing going around where you like look up somebody's high weight and like you follow these creators that are exactly your body type. And I think it's great to have goals for your body, right? Goals when your mind is not infected with the self-rejection. So like in my opinion, and what helped me is clearing your social media feed from bodies just in general, or maybe opening your social media feed to all types of bodies, right? Like one person that really inspired me at the beginning of my body image recovery journey was Ashley Graham. I had never seen like the most beautiful woman, right? But she was bigger than me. And so like society and where I came from, I felt like my mind was shaped to where, if you're bigger and you're a woman, you're automatically kind of canceled off of this like hot list. And so therefore, when I grew up and I was a little bit bigger, I was like, well, questions out of it. Like, I'm not hot, I'm not beautiful, I can't be pretty because I look too much like a man, I'm just too big, right? No, that's actually very wrong. And so just noticing Ashley Graham for the first time and seeing that she was a bigger girl and she was owning it and she was hot as fuck, just really opened my eyes. So what you feed your mind stays in your mind, and it really does, change your perception of the world or keeps you stuck in this box. So just understand that. Secondly, I would just say notice the language that you have towards yourself. I used to call myself fat. I used to call myself the human garbage disposal. Like I just couldn't help myself from cleaning off everybody's plate because I just loved food, right? I was just really mean to myself, told myself I couldn't wear a lot of things, told myself that I wasn't beautiful, and all of that, so if you find yourself stuck in that language, I just want you to recognize these words that you are telling yourself are full of negative energy, okay? And therefore it's keeping you trapped. Attach less emotion to it. For example, like I'll give you an example of what I did. I used to call myself fat. Like I used to look in the mirror and I'd be like, oh my God, you're fat, you're disgusting. And I would purposely kind of make myself look uglier to believe the narrative that I was speaking, right? That I was putting out there. I started softening my language. I went from basically calling myself fat and looking in the mirror to being like, oh, I'm a little bit thick today. I feel a little bit thick today. Oh, she's a little bit thick. She had a big meal, And so I just found that, I wasn't completely stepping away from the idea that I wasn't necessarily happy with my body because that wasn't my truth, right? But I did recognize that if I wanted to heal my relationship with my body, I had to start taking out some of the negative energy and negative emotions around the words that I was choosing to use for myself. That's not the typical advice that you get, but you can't shout, these affirmations in the mirror and really expect to believe them, right? Like, especially if you're coming off of a season where you were just not nice to yourself. So I found that if I was living in my truth, but also, stepping towards bettering my body image, or being less harsh to myself, just being nicer to myself, that's what really worked for me. Lastly, the last tip that I'll give you is exposure therapy. So I challenged myself a lot, and I recognized that in these moments is where I grew, and this is where I saw, I guess, like, more of an instant change. Not an instant change because it didn't change overnight, but this is where I felt like I could, I could physically feel the uncomfort in my body, and as I would kind of like push through uncomfortable, I felt like I was growing in that moment. So it kind of felt like this instant gratification, like, yes, I was extremely uncomfortable, but I was growing. An example of that would be kind of just like recognizing that there's no clothes that you can't wear. So for me, this was experiencing more feminine clothes, just clothes that I admired others in and I wanted to try it on and I felt good in, but maybe I didn't feel too confident stepping outside. You can go to Walmart in the clothes that you feel uncomfortable in, and just kind of recognize that, like, that is you growing, that's stepping into you, right? That's kind of like, it challenges you standing on your own beliefs and your own opinion of yourself, because people could be judging you, or they could not. Sometimes you recognize that you lean towards the, like, nobody gave a fuck. Sometimes, maybe you feel like you get a look, and you just, in those moments is where I felt like I really grew. And quite honestly, nobody really gives a fuck, even though it can feel like you're telling yourself, like, oh my God, I just got a look, or whatever the heck. So challenge yourself. I think that's a majority of where my growth came from with body image and things like that, because, like, even today I wore a tank top and some shorts. I was a little bit bloated, but I honestly could feel myself, like, that was a little bit uncomfortable for me, but it was just like, I just told myself, like, fuck, we're all just ants on this earth. So I think if you could just kind of, like, recognize, like, oh, I feel uncomfortable, but uncomfort doesn't mean we're in danger. That's where a lot of growth happens. So that was just something that I wanted to speak on before I went inside. I hope you know that you are beautifully made. You don't have to change for anybody. And recovery is so possible, whether it's from food noise, binging, or just a very negative body image. You deserve to live the life that you want to live, and it takes time, but you'll get there. So thank you, I love you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Remember to like, comment if you have any questions, and subscribe. That's all. Bye, guys.